Sean Wei Li is furious.
He's upset. 100%.
Oh, post pay-per-view card. Welcome in everyone to a brand new edition of Axe Cake Picks, episode 144. Today is Sunday, October the 6th, 2024. And kid, what a weekend it was. How the hell you doing, Joe?
Doing good, yeah. It's been exciting so far. Fights were decent.
Yeah.
Jets are playing right now. You know, Mets
London.
won over the weekend. We got another game today, right?
Yeah, we got another game today. It's been good so far, like you said. Fights were okay. I think you and I actually had a higher expectation for this card than I think most people, but they were some good fights in between. Our Mets won. Jets playing overseas right now, just forced a 3-and-out. So
they can do it. They can come back.
Yeah, like our Mets, you just got to believe. But yeah, it was a great card. UFC 307. Bad Blood was this weekend as well. I thought Bad Blood was really good. Yeah. And yeah, it was really good. So we'll talk about that. And I think we have to start in Salt Lake City. 307 and champion remains. Fight of the night, Alex Pereira. He gets the knockout, KO TKO in the fourth round. And I'll say this, what a warrior Khalil Roundtree is. I did not expect him to last this long, or any fighter of that magnitude to last this long, but he just wouldn't go down, man. You know, Alex, and I think when he hit that shot to the body in the fourth, Khalil was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done at that
It was
point.
2 consecutive shots, like right to the same spot. You say lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice. You got corrected with Poatan right there, man. He's just too skillful, bro. He's just light years ahead of what he's doing, man. I mean, he's in the conversation for the greatest of all time. I mean, it's undoubtedly now. And people complain, they could say, oh, Khalil, this and that. He's not up to the level of, so it was like a walk. No, man, all this kickboxing pedigrees that we've seen from the previous guys Poatan has fought, Khalil Roundtree did the best against him.
I was just going to say he did better than Sean Strickland, any of these guys.
Yeah, Jerry Price, Jamal, forget about it. I mean,
I don't know what he was doing in the crowd.
Oh, yawning. And then that clapback was fantastic. He must have just woke up from UFC 300. Wow, that was great. 10 pay-per-views ago, my boy. Yeah, I mean, you're getting cooked in the octagon, outside the octagon. Come on. We need to see other fights from him before we can get that conversation started again, because it's looking like, you know, Pereira is going to move on to Ankalaev, and he comes out and saying that he wants to stand and bang with Pereira, and I don't think that's a good idea for
Why do these guys want to do that?
Why did anybody want to go there? I know ego is a hell of a drug, but man, Pereira, dude, just the way he touches people. We had Mark Goddard sit the side of the cage, and he was like, I've never heard of all my years of, you know, reffing inside of the cage, had heard the impact that Pereira's punches land on his opponents, man. He's just got something about him, man. It's God's gift, whatever you may. He's just something special, and it's a blessing to be able to watch him in the Poatan era right now.
100%. And it's actually even more incredible finding out everything he was dealing with. He revealed the training camp was one of the hardest. He had significant issues. He said he was on antibiotics for a lot of this camp. He had a fever, a sore throat. He had
I was more worried like that I felt like watching all the embeddeds and everything, that he wasn't like locked in. Like he didn't really like turn it on. Like he was, you know, like as soon as it comes up the last couple of days, like he is like stone faced, like killer, no emotion. He was, even the night before, you know, to weigh-ins, he was smiling and still like chopping it up with the boys. And so that's what threw me off a little bit and got me a little worried. But, you know, we're just seeing, you know, the full blossoming of his personality. You know, he doesn't have to, you know, go into straight killer mode, which he can at any moment, as we've seen. But it's just an awesome thing to watch.
Awesome. I mean, it's incredible what he's doing. Oh no, Sauce Gardner walking back to the locker room. But yeah, no, it's incredible what he's doing right now, and I think he deserves a break. Don't fight until next year. I know people are saying maybe December. Find out if no. This guy is a workhorse promotional. He's dealing with some things. Let him enjoy the holidays with his family. Go back to Brazil. I'd rather see him come back March, April, fully fresh, then rush him back. It just doesn't make sense.
Give him those 6 months.
Yeah,
and that's all he needs, and that's still like short timetable for a return in terms of what we're seeing with some fighters, some championship level fighters. We don't get to see them fight but once a year.
Yeah, we saw that in the co-main event. Juliana Pena, 2-year layoff.
There you go.
And new, baby. I know, a lot of controversy here. And if I'm being honest, I'm not just saying this because I had Juliana Pena. but I didn't think it was much of a controversy. I thought Juliana won. I thought I was definitely in the minority because the people I was watching it with, they thought it gave to Rocky. And when I went online, I like to stay off of social media while the fights are going on. But even,
no leaks, nothing like that.
and even towards then, it looked like all of MMA Twitter thought Rocky won. And I guess I was confused. I want to read you the scorecards because I think I had it pretty clear, like Sal D'Amato. I gave the first 3 rounds to Juliana Pena, but I thought it was clear. Rounds 4 and 5, the championship rounds, were definitely to Rocky. I guess it all comes down to how you scored round 1. So 1, how did you see the fight and how did you have it? Because I had it 4-1 going into the 5th. I thought Rocky needed a knockout.
Yeah, you could have seen that. The 4th and 5th round are hard for me. And I think globally it agrees that you're right. The championship rounds were Rockies. And being the champion and getting those 2 rounds, does that weigh heavily enough in the judges' eyes for you to, defend the belt? You should get the benefit of the doubt as the champion. And I mean, that should be said if you get outpointed and the challenger just has a better performance. But if it's that close, you should be given the benefit of the doubt as the champion. But you're right. I mean, the first round, you could have seen it going Rocky, but it wasn't that first round that she had her back taken, right? Like Pena
100%.
was riding her back for the majority of the time. And granted, when it got into, the feet, she was, at a slight disadvantage. And there was some clinches against the cage in that first round where, Rocky had the advantage. But I just think there was more significance going on with backpacking her throughout the majority of the first round. And I could guess no damage being done there, but I mean, we're weighing heavily on these grappling exchanges and these wrestling of this calendar year, 2024. Look at all the champions that are now new. Their majority having a great, strong grappling wrestling base. And so if we're going to start evening out the exchanges where now, 12-6 elbows are allowed, where, as an offensive fighter compared to the grappling, you have more advantages. Now we should be weighing heavily about the grappling. And that's where I could see that Pena does have an argument to win on the split decision. I don't think it was unanimous. I know you said it could have been 4 to none. I saw that the 4th round was won by Rocky. And it's like, what, if she does really good in the 5th, she could have, swung it out if she had stolen around earlier. But you could see, for both ends, I don't like the call out from Pena at the end, totally ignoring Kayla Harrison. I hate to spin it forward right away, but it's like, you could have an argument to fight Rocky again. And, Kayla's waiting in the wings to fight you, and you go and call out Amanda Nunes. It's just kind of the cheap way out.
Oh, no. Aaron Rodgers is down. Yeah, it's going from bad to worse. No, I'll say you touched on a lot. I agree. I thought the call out was bad. You can't duck Kayla Harrison at this point. She is going to be next. Unless you don't plug Amanda Nunes in not to get a title shot. I mean, she's not coming back unless she fights for the title. I think that's one thing. So, yes, I think she squandered it. And I think she maybe looked at it and was like, Kayla kind of was dominant. I don't know how I'll do.
Yeah, it's kind of smart.
Yeah.
But you could tell the crowd was not feeling it.
Yeah, no, she was ducking her. I'll say this, effective grappling has not been rewarded to what it should be. I know the judges were quick to say, hey, let's work to finish. That was their key line yesterday. Let's work to finish. But let's fucking be honest. The guy, Juliana Pena had her for 8 seconds. Let her work. Like, you're not even letting it develop at a certain point. Herb Dean was saying, hey, let's work. Are you seeing a shift in judges with effective grappling, or do you think they're getting influenced by the boos in the crowd?
Yeah, I do. I think that they're only human. And I do think that definitely sways, what you see in the fight, all that experience. That's why sometimes we watch fights with the sound off, not to hear the commentators, not to hear the crowd. You get swayed in that favor, just all your senses being triggered. So I do feel like the judges are just simply that. They're human and they can be affected and swayed by outside forces, So,
yeah.
Who's to say that it doesn't also affect the referees? We saw some crazy refereeing and judging here for 307, to be completely honest with you.
We even saw it in the Ihor Pretoria and Cesar Almeida fight. It was insane. I mean, the eye pokes. You saw the judge being hesitant. He didn't even know what to do. They were in shambles. It was actually really bad, bro. Judges was all over. Even the refs, I didn't think were a good showing at all, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't think it was a robbery. I definitely think rounds 4 and 5, Rocky won. No,
I thought you were already moving on because
sorry. Yeah, I wasn't moving on. I just wanted to give an example real quick. But yeah, I'm happy for Juliana. I cashed on the underdog play. So shout out Venezuela Vixen. think she was even kind of surprised she won.
I don't think she has a chance. I don't think she has a choice. Excuse me. Maybe not a chance either. I think she's going to fight Kayla.
I don't think either.
Yeah, I think based on the two performances, Caitlin Vera, we slept on her. She is a really strong women's bantamweight fighter.
Yeah,
long, strong, good jiu-jitsu, all that stuff. So, that was a tough matchup for her. And man, look at how Payne performed against Rocky. Man, Kayla's going to be tough.
I love this bantamweight division though. It's on fire right now. Shout out Mario Batista, man. Good game plan. It's the same thing, the ref broke him up, and as soon as he broke him up, he shot a double again. I mean, the last three opponents 0 for 28 on takedown attempts on Jose Aldo. So don't know why people continue to do it. They just hold him up against the cage. I know it's boring or whatnot. And as much as I love Jose Aldo and I had him, Mario Batista did win this fight.
Mario Batista is like, man, I don't know. This was a robbery. Let's be real.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Jose Aldo won the second and third round. And then you look back at the previous fight, Mario Batista barely beat Ricky Simone in the second and third round. So it's like a complete opposite flip of how Batista's getting these, judges' scorecards. It's very interesting to see.
I'll say this. I think the difference between the co-main and this one was at least Juliana Pena had control of her back, was working submission.
That's what I mean, dominant position. Yes. That's why you can have the argument. It's just on where in the round she won and which ones.
Correct.
But you can't argue that the first round was Batista's, but did he do enough in the second and third to get the...
I thought it was 1-1 going into the third, and I didn't know if Mario Batista did enough. He was kind of just holding him. That's not, you got to work to finish. And I thought Jose Aldo was actually landing the cleaner strike. So, yeah, it's unfortunate Jose didn't win. I don't know if he'll retire. He 1-1 out of retirement now. Tough guy, Mario Batista. But
he's on the rise too. He's definitely a contender. But like I said, I kind of saw that Aldo, should have taken that. And, did you hear the Burns story? Gilbert Burns was like, back when we were like 18, 19, Jose Aldo was like 20 years old. Now I'm older than Jose Aldo. So they're saying like Jose Aldo's lying about his age, that he's really like 40 low key. He's not just 37, 38.
That's
like he's
more
already,
impressive.
he's already 40 doing this stuff. And I think that's be like, we don't blink an eye and be like, oh, well, he's 40. He shouldn't even compete. The fact that he, like you said, it's more impressive. I agree. But it's just easier on the eyes to say, oh, okay, he's still in his 30s and fight.
100%. Oh, my God. Aaron Rodgers getting rocked. Brian Flores is bringing the pressure.
I should have not put this jersey on.
No, it's all good. I love the jersey, though, actually.
Thank you.
And the middleweight, let's go. What's going on with Kevin Holland? I mean, very bizarre. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like this stoppage, but it seemed like
he broke a rib.
Yeah,
bro, that shit's painful.
And you got to give credit to Roman Dolidze for doing that. I thought he won the round regardless.
Yeah, man, he was effective. And that the grappling exchange there, he was dominant, and he tried to hold him down onto the mat as strong as he could. And Kevin Holland did everything to explode out of that position. And that's what popped the rib out. And Roman Dolidze the whole time was riding him, and he had his back practically. So
it could have been a 10-8 round, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have been a 10-8 round. And for Roman to do that, it's exactly that. He caused that. He was preventing Kevin Holland from doing anything and really playing his game. And so he was ineffective as opposed to Roman Dolidze completely effective at 185. But I go in to say I agree with Joe Rogan. We have Buckley, who moved down to welterweight, looks super impressive. We do think that Kevin Holland's probably more at home at 170 than 185. He
doesn't look good at 185.
He's fighting bigger guys. Yeah, man. And it just doesn't – every time he comes out 185, there's just a chance that he can get that knockout. But it's just more often than not that he's struggling there at the higher weight class. I think he should make the commitment to 170 and see what can happen. Joe Rogan's been saying it for years now. Maybe he can go and, search for a title. You just got to make himself at home at 170. So it was a tough fight for him, but Roman Dolidze needed that win. And he is a threat, man, because a couple tough losses, but getting this one, I think is very important for him going forward.
100%. And you talk about a guy going back and forth to a weight class. Roman Dolidze found a home at middleweight and in welterweight as well. So
was it welter or was it light heavyweight?
He was welterweight. I think he's fought all three, if I'm being honest.
Have. I mean, maybe welterweight's in his rearview mirror now because he is a big boy.
He is a big boy, and I thought it was a perfect game plan to go up against Kevin Holland. So yeah, big win for Roman Dolidze. Gets the doctor stoppage TKO after the first round. Big win for Roman Dolidze. Like you mentioned, Caitlin Vieira, she winds up losing unanimous decision. By the way, won't name the sports book, but I had an issue cashing my Kayla Harrison via decision. They graded it a loss. I almost spazzed out, Joe. I said, I had a double take. I was looking at the fight. I said, they just read the scorecards. She won unanimous. I was on live chat support.
Did they refund that?
No, I got my winnings. I got my winnings. But they graded it as a loss initially. They go, oh, we apologize. I go, how does that even happen? But anyway.
It wasn't even like that competitive. I mean, it's the first round, but
I'll say this. Caitlin Vera did put some threats on the feet until the grappling. She had that big knot on her head for Kayla Harrison. And I'll say this. It was her toughest opponent. Yes, only 2 fighters in the UFC, but she's a beast, Caitlin Vera.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's I said it. I was like, you know what? Plus 700, the odds shouldn't have been as despairingly obvious as they were. But Kayla Harrison, she's her. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she's coming for the belt, man. There's nothing that Juliana Pena can do to try to duck her, because even if she does not come out in the fight, UFC is going to put that belt vacant for her to claim it. You know, they're riding this cash all the way to the bank. You know, Kayla Harrison is money. You know, I think she's bringing a lot of eyes to the sport. She's proven it a lot. It's been a long time coming, and now that she's here, man, she's making waves. So it was an impressive performance to get that win over Vera, because I regard Caitlin Vera very high. I mean, she's second in the weight class, but I mean, if you had her against like Pena or Pennington, I mean, it's a toss up. She's that that competitive, that talented. So Kayla Harrison completely dominating just speaks volumes to what her future holds, and I expect it to be champion in 2025.
Yeah, you don't invest this much into a female or a fighter in general if you're not going to put the title on her. And I think that all leads road to Kayla Harrison and Juliana Pena fighting very soon. But hey, by the way, we do cash our ticket. We will. Juliana Pena will not fight again this season, so we cash another future prop. Juliana Pena, the champion in that bantamweight division. Let's go to Stephen Wonderboy, man. What a fight, because I thought he was up 2 rounds to nothing. And it was a great coaching for Buckley's team out of St. Louis, Missouri, saying, hey, you got to fight now, kid. Like, you need a knockout, and that right hand.
It started coming in the second round. That's what I started worrying.
Saw it. You did see it.
It was starting to snowball.
Yeah, but that right hand, once Buckley laid it, I never seen Wonderboy flat out like that. I was like,
you don't remember the Pettis knockout? I don't think you were really watching.
I wasn't watching it back then.
Yeah, so that was the only, like, Wonderboy throughout his, undefeated kickboxing career, just like throughout his career of karate and everything, he's never, really lost, to be honest. That's why he was such a puzzle to solve in the UFC. No one can handle the striking, the level of striking that he had, the in and out, him and MVP having that back and forth point karate fighting stance is just impressive and hard to duplicate in training. And so you just don't know how to approach it. Anthony Pettis, there was Superman punch off the freaking cage, as Anthony Pettis only would, and he caught him flush and knocked him out. This is the only time I saw Wonderboy go out, and then now we saw Buckley do it. And you just can't deny Buckley now.
You can. I think you tweeted it perfectly. At this point, you cannot. This was the test. If you got past Wonderboy, and how he did it. I mean,
that's the thing. Regardless of him losing the first 2 rounds, the fact is he got it done in the third, and that's all that matters. It's not how close you win the race is if you win it, and he won it.
I mean, at this point, I know everyone was criticizing him for his call out, obviously, at Conor McGregor in his last fight. Much better call out. I think Kamaru Usman, at this welterweight division, there are a lot of guys that are, have fights and they're kind of scheduled throughout the rest of the year. Kamaru Usman, former champion, I think that's a great guy. And I agree. I think he's 1 or 2 fights away. If he goes out there and starts as Kamaru Usman, he's next.
Besides the top couple of guys, I mean, Buckley entered into the welterweight division at like the perfect time where a lot of guys in the top 10 are aging. And yeah, granted, like I said, you got, JDM, you got Jack Della Maddalena, Savcott, Sean Brady, Ian Gary. Those are like the little core 4 of guys that are young coming up. But the majority of the division are aging. And so Buckley has found his niche, getting to 170, finding a home, and could get very favorable matchups. Like, if he does fight Usman, simply based off where they are in their careers, I would favor Buckley. I'd be honest with you. Coming off that Wonderboy win, I mean, that's just huge. Just solve that level of striking. I think he's going to be able to match the wrestling if Usman even wants to throw that. And then the striking, I seen Buckley's very dangerous and powerful, explosive. Yeah. Man, I like the call out, like you said, and I like the matchup for Buckley, but he may wind up getting another match. I don't know who that could be. Could be a top 5 opponent, but maybe in the top 10. We got to see what's going to happen.
Regardless, he's 2 fights away. I think he's either 1 fight away, or if he goes out there and beats Kamaru Usman, which I think is a really good fight. Shout out Joaquin Buckley, though. Big win over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Thompson probably taking a step back, still into the top 15, but he's entering that, unfortunate that I don't like to say, because it has kind of a negative connotation, which I don't think it should, but kind of that gatekeeper role. Buckley gets the $50,000 bonus performance of the night as well. Not a lot of them handed out.
No.
Just in the main event. Buckley,
a lot of decisions in that prelim.
Yeah, and shout out my boy Ryan Superman Spam. I mean, what a fucking
he got that sub submission. And Court McGee at home, man. I saw that. I didn't even realize he was fighting his own backyard.
I forgot to, and when you saw him talk after the fight, he was getting emotional what it meant to him fighting in Utah. Why didn't we smash him as an underdog? What are we doing?
I smashed that plus.
No, I'm talking like stupid me. Like I should have fucking forgot.
Should have tailed.
Should have tailed. I do want to give her flowers, even though I guess some people going on Twitter. I guess some people thought Carla Esparza won. I thought that one was pretty easy to say to judge. I thought Tisha Pennington won all 3 rounds. She
won that handedly.
But I do want to give her flowers. It was her last time Tough 20 champion. She's a 2-time strawweight champion. She's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but hell of a career for the Cookie Monster.
Yeah, she did fantastic. I think not a lot of people expected a successful career from her, and she proved the doubters wrong. So congratulations, Carla Esparza, on a fantastic career, and enjoy retirement. I'm sure she'll be helping out the next generation of wrestlers and fighters coming through, especially for the women.
I don't know if you hear this, but there's a fucking parade going on with all the sirens outside. So I apologize.
Great time to be alive, man.
Yeah,
how's the Jets looking?
Oh my God. So like I said, Ryan Spam, he got a submission win in the first round. I think like a minute and 20 or something like that. Real
that
quick.
Was quick.
The Ihor Pateria Cesar Almeida fight was in shambles.
That was crazy. That referee, did he get fired? Like literally,
it was his last assignment. Thank fucking God, because
his first and only.
Yeah, and the last 2, which I thought you want to talk about robbery.
Yeah,
I thought Austin Hubbard got robbed, and I thought Marina Rodriguez got robbed.
I don't know what the commentators were talking about with Alexander Hernandez looking good in the pocket exchange. It seemed like he was losing every exchange. That every time Austin Hubbard threw a punch right down the middle, it was just hitting and flushing his head back. I don't know if that counts for something. I don't know what I'm watching anymore. And then Yasmin Lucinda, I don't know. Same thing. The punch is straight down the pipe. I think the grappling. So, it's just so that, like we said, we hope that the grappling gets noticed a little more. Yasmin Lucindo's grappling was way better than Marina Rodriguez's striking. So I could say that she won split, but man, just taking all that damage, straight punches right down the pipe, bro, that damage should win you some fights.
100%. But overall, besides the judging and whatever, I thought it was a really good card overall. We were both profitable on the night. I went 5-3. You went 7-5, correct?
Yep, 7-5. That's right.
Perfect. So yeah, overall it was a good one, and we are back, right back at the Apex UFC Vegas 98, I believe, right? 98.
Yep. Next week, and 99 the week after. Then UFC 308, and then, like you said, most important card of the year,
UFC Vegas 100 at the Apex, baby. But Brandon Royval next week against Taisura Taira.
Big matchup.
Big title eliminator.
Speed. I think so.
I think so too. I mean, I love Taisura Taira. I think he could be, I don't want to say it, but I think he could really pose a threat to Pantoja. So we'll see. We'll have plays on that for Friday's show. Bad Blood. I mean, we continue to roll. 5-0 for me, 4-1 for you. Which one did you get wrong?
The main event. I had to go with the bloodline, not seeing what would happen, and then The Rock.
The Rock is back. I loved it. No one said a word.
Yeah, bro. But it was a great Bad Blood. I mean, like you said, 20 years since the last Bad Blood, and then 27 since the first ever Hell in the Cell. And man, that was just cinema, bro. Once again, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
I mean, the way they started and the way they finished the night. Good job, Paul Levesque.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing right now, and I think the WWE is on fire for the first time in kind of a long time, I would say, like old school. But yeah, like I said, ending it. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking when they have that kind of stare down between Roman and Cody, going back and helping? Jimmy is back. I mean, it was insane. The beginning, I thought, Goldberg was right there. Goldberg coming into the ring. I thought overall it was good. I do cash. I know people were saying with Liv Morgan being disqualified, but she still retains.
Yeah, it
So
counts. That's a
it
win.
counts. I won, so I don't care what people said. That's still a win.
That's why we went undefeated at 4-1.
Yeah. I know I always mention this when Jacob Fatu fights, but I think that guy's the real deal.
Dude,
Like,
that entrance,
it's fucking
fantastic
sick.
entrance. Yeah, it was
I
pretty
get goosebumps, and I'm like, I don't even like him, but I love the like.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's playing the heel part 2, and also like that brute, right? Like he just not no selling moves, which sometimes it could rub you the wrong way. You're like, no selling RKO is kind of much, but
yeah,
the no selling you make him like OP, so it makes sense.
100%. By the way, I don't know how I felt. It was okay. It was an all right fight with Damian Priest and Finn Balor.
Yeah.
We knew. I mean, great call by you because I almost took Bailey, but you were right. Nia Jax, and then was it cash in time? Did Tiffany? I didn't expect her to come in. If I'm being honest, then it was like, oh no, should I go? Like,
No.
it was kind of crazy.
But there you go. Just like we said, that storyline's brewing for her to challenge for the title.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm glad my boy, the best to ever do it, CM Punk, winded up winning and ending the rivalry. But Joe, overall, it was great. Oh, by the way, 10 seconds left. How'd you do?
Yeah, man, I both went just as I saw it. You know, Regan Urso reclaimed his title, beating Alexis Nicholas, and then though we lost Kong Daggery, John Lineker. I mean, the dude's got to be one of my favorite fighters ever because he's just 5'0", and he just puts people's lights out. It's just unbelievable to watch. And now the fact that he's competing in mixed martial arts and then also competing in Muay Thai, he just seems unstoppable. So hands of stone, John Lineker, he's the real deal, man.
Oh yeah, he is the real deal. All right, so altogether for you, 13-6 on the weekend, very profitable for you, Joe. For me, 10-3. I really wish we could bet these WWE. I mean, we would have so much money at this point, but overall, combined 23-9. Wow. We're making you guys some money here. So if you, I don't know what you're doing, you got to tune in for the picks. Right. Before we get over to the picks, we are in week 9 of Dana White Contender Series. 5 fights on a Tuesday. But before we do that, quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. There's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick. Just like how we like our lives, whether it's Huckleberry playing a round of golf with the boys or a new flavor, coconut, watching Dana White Contender Series Week 9, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, kid, let's stay hot, kid. Tuesday night, October 8th, 8 o'clock on ESPN Plus, excuse me. I don't know why I said fucking 8. I was thinking of ESPN The Ocho. You remember?
ESPN 8, The Ocho.
Oh my God, great time.
Ain't that right, Pepper?
Hey, that's a bold strategy, Kyle. Let's see how it turns out. But
let's see how it plays out. Like you said, week 9 of the Dana White Contender Series, and I got a little switch up for the first and last fight, but we'll kick it off with the flyweights here. Sean Gaethje, Australian, taking on fellow Australian man Anthony Drillich. I got Gaethje as a favorite, -180, taking on Drillich at +150. And I think it could be closer to a pick-em. You know, I see the resume being similar in both regards, fighting in regional promotions and finally matching up here in the Dana White Contender Series. So it's finally come, and I really think that these guys are going to be competitive in there. So though I don't see it right now, I'm sure we'll get these odds posted up. I'm not picking a side. I'm actually going to pick the total. I'm going over 2.5 rounds between these flyweights. I think being known each other, regional promotion, you know, haven't basically watched each other for this amount of time and finally meeting in the octagon, I think they're going to be ready to fight. And I just don't see them, you know, either one of them going out. I think they're going to be in there for the entirety of the fight, and we'll get to the judges in that one. So it's not often that you get finishes with the flyweights. So with that being said, give me the over 2.5 rounds for the first fight of week 9.
That's between Song Gaethje, right? Or
Yeah, Sean Gochi and
Gochi.
Anthony Drillich.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, no props or totals just yet. They usually release it within 24 hours of Tuesday night, so just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, keep an eye. It's kind of last minute with that stuff. I guess it's hard coming off of fight night, a pay-per-view on the Saturday, and then having to put the odds out for the Tuesday after. But I mean, we're doing it for how long now? I mean,
9
are
weeks.
we almost years? How many? Are we almost a decade
years,
of doing the Dana White Contender Series? You know what I mean? Like, we should have had this figured out where we have these odds ready to go. You know, the fact that I have to dig and find, the game plan, the footage, and all this for the fighters. I mean, all this stuff should be readily available. We should know more about these guys making their way into the UFC. So come on, odds makers, come on, sports books, let's
get your shit together.
And now we go to the welterweight division contest. That Islam Dulatov, man, here is a favorite, minus 450, taking on Vantilo Antunes at plus 350. And look, the Brazilian, he does have a little more experience, and he does have a bunch of TKO finishes on his resume, but his hole in his game is the submission aspect of it. And Islam Dulatov, he has none of his victories have ever gone to the judges. This dude's a bona fide finisher. So I got to pick a side. I got to take Islam Dulatov minus 450. Maybe you want to take him inside the distance, being that, like I said, all his fights he's won have been finished inside the distance. So via KO TKO, via submission, both very live. Maybe you want to play both separately, or you want to take the inside the distance, depending on how chalky the line is. But give me Dulatov here to be victorious. And we move to the heavyweights, man. I like this one, man. Two undefeated heavyweight dudes. We have Portugal's own Mario Pinto taking on Lucas Camacho, another Brazilian cat, and he's a dog at plus 375. Mario Pinto, I like the resume I've seen, and dudes like this are just killers, man. This first round is going to be fireworks between the two of them. And I see that Mario Pinto is going to be able to find the chin a little bit easier. I just see that based off what I've seen in the resume and what I've looked at, he also has the ability to go the distance. He's been a defending champ for some time in Levels Fight League. I like the level of competition. I like how he's getting it done. I'm going to take Mario Pinto. It's another chalky favorite, but if you want to level that chalk out, I would go as far as to take that first round KO TK. I'd go that specific. I'm trying to get you better value, but all I could do right now is pick a money line side. And so for that, I'm going to take Pinto. And now we're here at the co-main event, and we see a familiar face, man, because we're supposed to see Cody Steele take on someone in the last minute, but here he is back again, and he's getting a fight against Chasen Blair. And I see Chasen Blair. He likes his, submissions. He's good on the ground, but man, Cody Steele, he's grappled with the who's of the jiu-jitsu players. He's an undefeated mixed martial artist, so he can stand on the feet. He's got good boxing, but the thing that Chasen Blair is going to have to do to win is go for the submission. It's not going to work against Cody Steele. Cody Steele, he's just too educated there, and he's a minus 225 favorite for a reason. So Chasen Blair plus 185. As much as I was tempted to maybe see that he could find a submission, I don't see it. It's Cody Steele being able to ward off the submissions and maybe win on the judges' scorecard. So, like I said, minus 225. You want to get that down? Go with Cody Steele via decision, but I can only take him straight up on the money line. I worry, though, that if he wins on the judges' scorecards, Dana White doesn't give him a contract. I do think that Cody Steele is good enough to deserve one, though. So if he gets out of this unscathed one more week 10, maybe we could see him back kind of like a Torres Finney to kind of prove himself.
Yeah.
I would hate for that to happen, but that's something that happens when you don't get a finish in Dana White Contender Series. So that was the co-main event. Here is the main event for Dana White Contender Series Week 9. Artem Vakhitov, massive favorite, minus 650, taking on Islam Mazarov at plus 475. I don't know if you remember it, Mazarov, right? He actually just come off a knockout victory in the PFL. The guy he fought, remember the guy? He came in the octagon like nonchalant with his hands down and just like walked up to him. And then the dude threw the head kick and knocked him out. That's Islam Mazarov. Mazarov is the one who threw the head kick to knock him out. So he's an undefeated mixed martial artist coming from the PFL, fought in the PFL Europe, promotion. And he's taking on Vakhitov, who is just, looking at the dude, he looks for real. You know what I mean? The record doesn't say much to me. And that's the issue why I was very hesitant on taking a side here, because it's like that head kick knockout say that he's really good, and the other guy should have taken him serious, or the other guy just completely sucked for being that lackadaisical. I don't think the guy sucked, because after that knockout loss, he has two. The guy who he knocked out, that opponent has two now back-to-back knockout wins. So he just went into that fight not giving an F in the world, and then he wound up getting knocked out because of it. So, that's your own fault being foolish like that. I'm seeing a lot of first-round finishes here from our guy here who's an experienced glory kickboxer, Artem Vakitov. I don't know which way to go. I'm going to go and take another total here. I'm going under 2.5 rounds. I see a finish in this one. A very competent kickboxer to a guy who has knockout finishes. I feel like, these big guys, all it takes is one shot. I see a knockout happening here within the first or second round. So I would go the under 2.5 rounds. Maybe if you want to squeeze it, more depending how favored that is, go to the minus 1.5 rounds, under 1.5. But I'm going to take the under in that main event fight, because I think someone's getting a contract based off a knockout.
Definitely a knockout coming here in the main event. I agree 100%. Joe, good luck on Tuesday. Hey, let's keep the train rolling.
5-0.
5-0, another 5-0. Let's do. A little news before we got a couple fights that were announced. We'll start December 14th down in Tampa. Billy Quarantino taking on Cub Swanson. You like this for Billy Q?
Billy Q. I like it for Cub too, to be honest with you. We don't think about Billy Q being up there, but he's had his fair share of wars. He's up there in his career. Cub Swanson as well. Both
Hall
guys.
of Famer Cub Swanson.
Yeah, both guys in their twilights. I would say I like this one for the OGs. One for the time. You know what I'm saying?
I think they did Billy Q a favor. He lives down there in Tampa now. They said, hey, can we get a home fight? So one more for the end of the year. So I like it.
Swanson travels well, so it should make out for a good fight.
UFC 311, the January 18th card. We got two fights announced. Jail time. Jolton Almeida will take on Sergey Spivak, which I love. Yeah. And Chris Curtis will take on Roman Kopylov as well. Interesting. The second one is much more interesting.
Yeah, it is for me. Yeah. I like the big step up for Kopylov. Chris Curtis is a massive test and a way to break into the top 15. And then jail time, man, I don't know. Spivak's surging. The polar bears are hot right now, no matter where you look for them. So they're hot in the Arctic, they're hot in the baseball diamond, and they're hot in the octagon. So, that could be a bad matchup for jail time, being that he can't really stand up and strike. It seems that Spivak could actually counter wrestle. But yeah, I like both these fights very much so.
It just felt like they were on a crash course to eventually fight. Number 6 and number 7, they had to pair them up eventually.
Yeah, they had to. And so 311 is in January. Are they doing that in Canada again? Did they say anything about DDP and Sean Strickland?
No, nothing on those two. We don't even have a location yet. All we know is that it is UFC 311, and the date is January 11th or 18th, excuse me. So we don't have a location yet. Dana White, after the fight, he had his post conference, and he mentioned 2 locations where he really wants to go
for January
or in 2025 in general: Seattle and Chicago. Chicago makes sense. You have Venezuelan Vixen and you have Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, you could put both of them on that card.
100%. That'd be a boring co-main and main. No, I'm just fucking.
I would go to it just for.
I love them.
I go to Chicago just for that.
Oh, yeah. Back at the Beam, baby. And Seattle, I thought, was an interesting one.
Man, what arena do they have out there?
Where the Sonics played.
The Kraken.
Yeah, the Kraken, exactly. Or they just do that. We got to get the Pacific Northwest some fights, kid. What do you say?
Yeah.
But that's it, kid. We got 12 minutes left. Do the Jets win? I need yes or no. They're down 7.
We're in New Jersey, man.
Let's go.
They're going to win. You know what I'm saying? Mets are going to win. We're looking up, baby. And can't wait for next episode. It's been a good weekend. Looking up for the rest of the month of October. Nonstop sports all day, every day until what? November 22nd or something like that?
Yeah, I think on Thursday was 55 days straight where we'll have football. So it's the best time in the world, baby. You got to love it. Good luck. God bless.